Dear friends, we are studying the Sadhana Pada from Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, and so far we have covered the topic of asana in the Ashtanga Yoga, and today we are going to discuss about pranayam. How does Patanjali describe pranayam? Tasmin sati श्वास प्रश्वासयोः gati vichhedah pranayamah. If you go with the meaning word by word, tasmin sati means having achieved that. Having achieved what? In the previous sutra, previous three sutras, Patanjali has said, sthiram sukham asanam, prayatna shaithilyam ananta samapattibhyam, tato dvandva anabhighatah. Patanjali has said, having achieved a posture which is comfortable and stable, having developed the ability to remain in the posture steady, effortlessly, prayatna shaithilyam, stabilizing the posture further by expanding your consciousness, by merging it with infinite. Anant samapatti. The more you expand, the more rock solid you become in your posture. Then, having achieved a state where you are so stable in your posture that the dvandva of heat and cold, pleasure and pain, these forces of dualities that exist in nature are not affecting you anymore, having transcended the body consciousness. Tasmin sati. If you have reached that, please recollect our last practice where all of us sat in an asana to the best of our ability, and all of you did wonderfully well. From 25 minutes to 1 hour 15 minutes, and people were ready to sit even longer. So we are closer, to reach this tasmin sati. Please remember, Patanjali does not use any word uh, without its being, he is very miserly for words. So if it is really, really required, he will use. So Patanjali says here, tasmin sati. It means the way we understand, that we should do pranayama by, okay, thoda stretching kar liya, thoda surya namaskar, then some shavasana, and then we sit to do pranayam in all our yoga modules. But if you go strictly by Patanjali, Patanjali wants you to do pranayam only when you are sure that you have developed that rock solid posture which has transcended you beyond the effect of the forces of dualities, pleasure, pain, heat, cold. You are beyond these forces, become so stable and calm in your body. It is only then that you develop the eligibility to perform the practice of pranayam. pranasya ayamah. So, can anybody tell me what is the meaning of ayam?
Mastery.
Mastery. Anybody else?
Lengthening the prana.
Hmm. Stretching. Some people say stretching. Some people say lengthening. So you are trying to stretch your prana. You are trying to stretch your limit. How much can you become independent of prana? How much can you develop this ability of surviving with lesser and lesser breaths? श्वास प्रश्वास गति विच्छेद। मतलब क्या हो रहा है कि जो सांस ले रहे हैं और जो सांस छोड़ रहे हैं, ये जो गति चल रही है कंटिन्यूअस, द ब्रीदिंग दैट इज गोइंग ऑन, that speed, that movement, gati means movement of the breath, incoming and outgoing movement, vichhedah, not required, freedom from, ये आने वाली और जाने वाली सांस से आपकी मुक्ति। Is it possible? Is it possible that you can reach a state where Vicheda is complete stoppage, my dear friends. It is not slowing down. Do not modify what Patanjali wants to convey. He is very clear. प्लीज अपने हिसाब से पतंजलि को मत मोड़िए। पतंजलि एकदम क्लियर है। पतंजलि बोल रहे हैं कि आने वाली और जाने वाली सांस रुक जाना, आपको आपकी सांसों से मुक्ति। इसका मतलब, इज इट लाइक पतंजलि इज आस्किंग अस टू डाई? Having achieved a state of mastery in asana, incoming and outgoing breath movement stoppage is pranayam. So this is what Patanjali defines pranayam. Now my question to you is Patanjali asking us to die? Anybody?
No.
No. क्या पूछ रहे हैं? What is Patanjali asking?
Actually, Patanjali is trying to say to achieve the state of Kevali Kumbhaka, spontaneous means cessation of in-breathing and out-breathing.
Spontaneous cessation of breathing in and breathing out. Is it possible? उसको फिर हम क्या होगा? We will be able to survive without breath?
Actually, that is the ambition of pranayama. It is said in Pran and Evam Pranayama book written by Swami Satyanand Saraswati. In that book, it is written, ambition of pranayama is to achieve the state of Kevali Kumbhaka.
So Ranjit feels that we will be able to survive. Okay, but when you look at it, it looks little impractical, no? Currently, हम लोगों ने इतने जो भी अभी तक सुना है, देखा है, उसमें इस तरीके का प्राणायाम का डेफिनेशन स्टॉपेज है। गति विच्छेद, मूवमेंट, स्टॉपेज ऑफ द मूवमेंट ऑफ द ब्रेथ इज प्राणायाम। Okay, so let us see, to get into it further, let us look at the next sutra. Okay. Bahya, abhyantar, stambha, vritti, desh, काल, संख्या विहि, परिदृष्टो, दीर्घ, सूक्ष्म. So bahya means outside, abhyantar means inside, stambha means suddenly stopping at any point, vrittihi. Vritti is something that has a tendency to come back again and again. Vritta. Vritta means a circle, something cyclical. Whatever that follows a cyclical pattern becomes a vritti. Then desha means space, kala means time, sankhya means frequency, number, paridrushtaha, watching them, watching it from the perspective of space, time, and number. Dirgha Sukshmaha. By this watching, it will become Dirgha means more stretched, prolonged. Sukshmaha means become more and more subtle, difficult to observe. So this sutra says Bahya Vritti means exhaling the prana, the breath out, prashvasa, and stopping it there, and then observing it, where I have stopped, how far I have stopped, in the duration that I have stopped, how many normal breaths would have happened. Watching it in that sense, or retaining it completely. This is Rechaka. Or breathing to your full capacity and then holding it inside and then also watching it. Desha, where I have held it. When you hold it breath, there is a point where your tendency to breathe out goes up, up, up. You cannot hold any longer and you exhale. So there is a space phenomena happening where I have held it. How far have I held it? And then if I continue my normal breathing, how many breaths would have happened in the time that I have held it? So watching it in that sense and doing this abhyasa, paridrushto, it becomes dirgha. The stoppage of the breath becomes more and more prolonged, and it also becomes sukshma. The very phenomena of breathing in and breathing out becomes more and more less visible, becomes lesser and lesser visible. So let us do a very simple exercise. I want all of you to keep a paper and a pen and a timer, a watch, stopwatch. Okay, I will also do it. First, for 30 seconds, as you are sitting here, just watch your breath and count the number of cycles of the breath. कितने श्वास और प्रश्वास होते हैं normally, कुछ भी किए बिना, without doing anything. Just watch your shwasa prashwas and count the number of breath. in 30 seconds. Okay, so let us all do that. Get ready, get your stopwatch, and let us start now. 30 seconds. Stop. So for me, it was 4.5. People can write here how many, what is your count? 5, 4.5, 5.5, 4, 4.5 for me, 5, 7, yes, 8, 2. पराग सर उसको कुछ करना नहीं था, मीन्स यू डिड नॉट हैव टू manipulate in any way, just as you are sitting, and it is possible to have to that way also. 3.5, 8, 4. I request everyone to put it. Okay, so this is our resting breathing rate. And for the people here, it ranges from 4 per minute to 16 per minute. 4 per minute to 16 per minute. This is our Shwasa Prashwasa. That is without any effort. Now, imagine, that we do the same practice that we did last time, sitting still without moving for as long as we can. And at the end of that practice, at the end of that stability, where people were steady for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, at the end of your maximum capacity, if you do the same exercise, we expect that it will further go down. At least it would go down by 1 or 2 breaths. Even more, depends on how much people have been able to expand and become steady. All of you agree that if you do that, if you sit still without moving comfortably, the rate would further go down? Yes. So this is scientific also, because your oxygen consumption reduces. All of us know that in sleep, in deep sleep, our breathing rate almost reduces by 40%. So oxygen consumption reduces. It is a known scientific fact, and you are reaching the same kind of relaxation by doing asana. Now, I want you to do another exercise. What you have to do is, first, exhale yourself completely, empty your lungs. Then take the deepest possible breath that you can take, and then hold it into your chest and drop your neck down and put Jalandhar Bandha. As soon as you hold your breath inside and drop your chin down, you start the stopwatch. Now retain the prana within you, retain the breath within you. Just observe when you hold it, you may be able to hold it in the chest. Slowly, slowly, it will come up to your neck, and now no longer you can hold. Then look at the stopwatch. Raise your neck up, breathe out, and relax. Okay. So then this time, what you have to share with me is how many seconds? How many seconds were you able to retain the prana within you? Abhyantar vritti. Okay. And you are watching it. You are watching it in terms of where you are holding it, how long you are holding it, and later we will also count the sankhya. Okay. So everybody get ready. Reset your stopwatch to 0. My instructions are very clear. I want in seconds, how long could you hold the breath inside? First you exhale fully, then you inhale fully, then put a Jalandhar Bandha. Start the stopwatch. When you cannot hold any longer, release the Jalandhar Bandha, stop the stopwatch and breathe out. Get ready? Comfortable posture. Okay, let us first breathe in. Now breathe out completely. Take a deepest breath possible. Hold, stopwatch start, chin down. Fifty-eight. 58 seconds for me. Please put your number. Yes, just put the number. Yeah. 60, 20. Very good. 63, 46. 45. 26. Perfect. Who is S? 54. Nandini 56. Sophia, okay. 18. Yes. So now, could all of you observe the desha when you wanted to hold it? Hardev Singh, our master asana person, has see the ability to stay in a posture stable and also to hold the breath inside. There is some kind of a correlation. The longer the people were able to sit, the longer also they are able to retain the breath inside. Hardev was the person who sat for 1 hour 15 minutes and he wanted to sit even more. So we can also see that his count is 86 seconds. 86 seconds. Yes. So now, could you all experience desha. Desha means space within you. When you could not hold the breath any longer, you would see that the prana wants to come out. It is as if your deglutition is happening. You are trying to swallow something which wants to vomit, which wants to come out. So the prana was rising up, 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 and then you couldn't hold it any longer. So this is known as desha. Where have you held it? How long can you hold it at a point? And then it is slipping out of your hands. It slips. Desha. How long could you hold it? Is it not like you are controlling an elephant? You are trying to pull the horse in the opposite direction and the horse is pulling you in another direction, and then you measure how long could I hold the horse at one place, and then the horse dragged me. So I held the horse. How long? Also, in which space? Also, in this much seconds, how many normal breaths would have happened for you? Say if I say that my breath is say 4.5 was there in 30 seconds. So I can say that in the time that I have hold, almost 1 minute, my sankhya is 9. So I got the freedom of 9 breaths. I could do gati vicheda, shwas prashwas gati vicheda. My count is 9. मेरा प्राणायाम का काउंट 9 है. You should be able to understand that normally we consider pranayam count is how many breaths you are taking. That is not pranayam count. Pranayam count is how many breaths have given you freedom from the breath. So you have achieved the freedom for how many breaths? That is your pranayam count. So my pranayam count is 9. Okay? हरदेव, आप बताइए आपका 30 सेकंड में कितने ब्रेथ हुए थे? पहले
सर
वाले
होल्ड किया था हमने,
नहीं
पहले वाले
तो
में हमने किया नहीं था।
पहले वाला नहीं
किया
किया था क्या? 30 सेकंड ऑब्जर्व नहीं किया था क्या नॉर्मली?
नहीं नहीं सर, नहीं किया।
ठीक है, ठीक. तो
स्टॉप स्टॉप बहुत नहीं किया।
okay, so see, all of you please calculate your pranayam time and message here. My pranayam time is 9. Okay, means what it means is I have achieved freedom for how many breaths? I could manage in a single breath the time duration of 9 breaths. So it is actually simple. Whatever you have achieved in 30 seconds, you calculate that for whatever time that you held your breath. Apurva, it is 7. Yes, this is your sankhya. See, 30 सेकंड में इतना, तो आपके 45 सेकंड में जितना देर आपने होल्ड किया उसमें कितना, मतलब अगर आप if you have held your breath for 40 seconds, divide 40 by 30 and multiply it by how many counts were there in 30 seconds for you?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Were we supposed to hold our breath up to a level of comfort, and then when we start to just feel mild discomfort, let it go, or hold it through the discomfort?
Through the discomfort. How much freedom? It is a question of life and death. You are trying to free yourself from the shackles of prana. Okay,
So
so
we
you
were not
want
just
freedom
holding
at
up
any
to a level
cost.
of comfort.
No,
Okay.
no. It is very serious. You are trying to free yourself from the shackles of death.
Okay.
You are trying to free yourself from the bondage of oxygen. So you have to put your every inch that is left in you, and then there is a count for you, there is a sankhya for you that will tell us how much freedom you have got? How much freedom have you got?
Okay.
Through,
I thought it was not supposed to be forceful.
no, we were assessing your limit.
Okay.
So you can try it again. So people, are you clear? I want your Sankhya in the chat box. Mine is 9. Apurva has put 7. Please put your Sankhya. It means you got freedom for how many breaths? Parag sir, आपका संख्या बराबर है because your basic count itself was 2. Here it is 4.
Sir,
Yeah.
my normal Bhayantar Kumbhak is normally around so many seconds. Like I don't do anything.
Yeah.
But Abhyantar it is not so much like it is. But once I breathe out, there is a lot of gap before I take the breath in. It is normal for me. Like I've been doing swimming. I was a champion in school, and now also I'm doing pranayam. This is a normal 6. I feel is 6 to 8. Whenever I feel it is more, I become aware of it immediately.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm not aware if it is 6.
Yeah.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
So
So
now I'm taking my lunch. This is my breathing. If I'm empty stomach, then I think it would be slightly less. I don't know. Somehow, even my SpO2 will be 93, 92, 93, not 97, what they say in textbooks. So somehow I don't know. It is.
no, that is good. That is good. So you are getting freedom from oxygen. So we have to understand that some people find it easy to do a Bahya Kumbhaka. Like some people will do Kapalabhati. You do Kapalabhati, and then throw the breath out and hold as long as you can outside. Some people have that as a longer. Some people breathe in and can retain it inside longer. Some people, Stambha Vritti is randomly, anywhere. Whichever state you are in, just stop your breath. So we have a Sankhya. All of us have a Sankhya. For Bahya Vritti, for Antara Vritti, and for Stambha Vritti. For all the three, all of us have a number. That is our pranayama number. It means that we are at this stage of freedom from the breath. Okay? Now, there is very important point here. I gave you this example because I wanted to feel what is Desha, what is Kala, what is Sankhya that Patanjali is talking about. Paridrashto, watching it in that sense. Every day if you do, can this count increase? Can this count from 7 go to 8, from 8 go to 9? If we would have done this after asana, asana in the way Patanjali says as asana, would this count go further? Another thing that will happen to the breath with this increase in the count is dirgha. Dirgha means your sankhya will increase. Sukshma means the breath that is going on, even in the baseline, the breath will become more and more subtle and less observable. You will not have heaviness in your breath. Your breath will become light as you get freedom from prana. Pranayama is freedom from prana. Okay, so what is this dirgha and sukshma? To understand this better, we should look at it in the contrast. What is laghu and sthula? Laghu is short breath. Sthula means a breath which is observable. You would have come across some people, they sit and you can just make out that they are breathing. the breath is such a laborious process, that you can make out that they are breathing. Their whole body moves when they breathe. This is sthula breath. Very, very visible breath. On the chest wall, you can just make out that they are breathing because the breath is very laborious. And laghu means it is a very short breath. The breath that is not at all, slow. The breath which is fast. The breath which is quite observable. So the question is there any relationship between the desire in my heart and the dirghata and sukshmatva of my breath? Has everybody got my question? Is there any relationship between the desire in my heart and dirghatva and sukshmatva of my breath? Yes, Parag sir, what is the relationship?
When my mind is not very stable, when I'm either in raga or dvesha mode, my breath automatically changes.
What
it
happens
becomes
to
more. It becomes more. In raga, in this thing, it becomes more. And immediately I know that it is more, and then I feel that it is in dvesha mode or raga mode. So that awareness slowly I am trying to get it now. That is that. So I immediately try to correct it, not forcibly. Somehow I try to see that it gets back. I like my breath now. I love my 4, 5, 6 count. I don't allow it to go. So automatically that raga dvesha mode I try to shift back to my normalcy and then sit and think on it and then get back to the normal.
I would like to hear some examples, sir. Any day-to-day example you can you tell me where you observe this relationship?
Especially when my patients are getting neglected by somebody, my staff or relatives, they are not following it properly, and the patient has suffered because of the neglect. I feel very uneasy inside, and either breath stops because of concentration or because of uneasiness. My breath goes up and down, but ultimately I convince myself, see, 100% I can't do. I'm not God. I'm doing everything. So somehow I have to accept that some negligence can happen, and I can't help them. Previously it was more. Now it is slightly less. Previously I used to get angry with the relatives or my staff that it has been neglected.
Anger, what would happen to your breath?
It would be more. Definitely it would be more. My volume of the voice would be more. Which again, after I shout or after I take my anger out, I would know that I am angry. So that breath relationship, because I did my Vipassana course about 15 years back. In 2008 I did. Then in 2008 they asked us to watch breath for 3 days continuously. And in that exercise, I think that awareness of breath has increased since then. In Vipassana, they do it, and it is very, very sensitive. 3 days you get fed up of watching the breath, but that mind and breath coordination is very sensitive, and it becomes like a pencil pinpoint mind. In the nose, you are concentrating on the nose and the nasal area in the nostrils. It feels as if we have a pencil with your mind is a pencil, and I can pinpoint any small fraction of a millimeter in my nasal area. That sensitivity of the touch touch is not touch, but that is there.
So there is, in anger, Parag sir has observed that his breathing became laghu and sthula. It became short and it became grossly observable, which is opposite of dirgha and sukshma. I want to hear experience from other people. What have you observed in different kind of emotions that you went through, especially raga or dvesha, what happened to the breath? Any emotion or any phenomena you can tell, and tell me the relationship with the breath. आपने अपने जीवन में क्या ऑब्जर्व किया है, क्या देखा है कि सांसों को क्या हुआ जब आप राग से या द्वेष से गुजरे? तो ऐसा कुछ एग्जाम्पल दे करके बताइए. Yes, Sophia, Shreyas. Sophia first. Or Shreyas can tell.
Yes, sir. So whenever I experience negative emotions like anger, my inhale is longer than my exhale. And whenever I am in more relaxed state, my exhale is longer than my inhale. And I can experience as my anger goes down, that pattern gradually shifts to more dominance to exhalation side than inhale.
Beautiful, Shreyas, beautiful. So there are a lot of scientific literature that tells that the functioning of the brain during the phase of inhalation is different than during the phase of the exhalation. During the phase of inhalation, people are able to retain, certain kind of a cognitive information, whereas during the phase of exhalation, they are able to retain a certain kind of cognitive information. So, as I said, that some people have a tendency to have proper bahya kumbhaka. Some people have a tendency to have proper antar kumbhaka. Like that, there are also, tendencies where the phases of inhalation, phases of exhalation become more violent when people go through certain emotions. So we can clearly see, you desire something. The breath, the effect on the breath can be observed. Person is sitting calmly and you want something, and you clearly know that the thing I want is being taken by somebody else. And your breath starts becoming heavy. It cannot remain any longer in the sukshma state. It becomes sthula. Or whether it is a sensual touch, as soon as the touch is made, the breath starts showing itself. So desire is directly proportional to number of breaths. So in our day-to-day lives, we have observed when we go through certain kind of emotions, or wherever, we are dependent on something. Before becoming dependent on something, we become dependent on our breath. A person who is addict, who has not taken alcohol or whatever drug he wants for days together, and suddenly he sees a bottle of alcohol, what happens to his breath? So the breath in craving, the breath in craving becomes heavy, observable, very clear. This is a very revolutionary kind of a thought, my dear friend, what Sage Patanjali is bringing up here. Patanjali is telling us that your breath is also an addiction. And when you do not systematically attain that freedom from the substance and suddenly withdraw yourself, you experience withdrawal symptoms. If a person who is addicted to alcohol and you suddenly withdraw, the person experiences seizures. उसको मिर्गी का दौरा पड़ जाता है. अगर किसी को लत लगा हुआ है अल्कोहल का और वो अल्कोहल आप उसको नहीं देंगे तो उसको एपिलेप्सी हो जाता है. In the same way, all of us are addicted to the breath. And suddenly if somebody drowns or gets into a place where there is no oxygen, you also develop epilepsy, you also develop seizure. आपको भी मिर्गी का दौरा पड़ता है. It means your body shows the withdrawal symptoms of the oxygen. So it is a physiological symptom. There are two symptoms of addiction. One is psychological, other is physiological. So when you, in a jerk, suddenly, without preparing yourself with practice of asana, tasmin sati, what Patanjali says, if without doing that, you put yourself into a situation where you are without breath, or you are doing this kumbhaka, it can harm you. It is like giving sudden shock to the system. But if you go systematically, Patanjali is telling us that it is possible that by regular practice of Bahya Kumbhaka, Antar Kumbhaka, Stambha Vritti, and gradually, systematically, Yama, Niyama, Asana, and Pranayama, if you keep on doing that, you can increase your Sankhya, your ability to hold the horse of prana in a particular desha, for a particular duration, for a particular number of sankhya. And it will also, the breath in your resting state will become more and more dirgha. It will become more prolonged, more sukshma. People who sit beside you also will not be able to make out whether this person breathes or not. So this will go in proportion. Your ability to have the control on the prana is directly proportional to your resting state, prolongation, and subtleness of the breath. And for that, yama and niyama cannot be ignored. Why? Because when brahmacharya is broken, then the breath becomes what? Then the breath becomes sthula and also laghu. When satya is broken, then the breath becomes sthula. आप झूठ बोलते हैं, आपकी सांसें चढ़ जाती है. आप ब्रह्मचर्य तोड़ते हैं, आपकी सांसें चढ़ जाती है. आप पजेस करते हैं और वो छूटता है तो आपकी सांसें चढ़ जाती है. आप चोरी करते हैं तो आपकी सांसें चढ़ जाती है. चोरी पकड़ी ना. When a thief steals, you can imagine how he palpitates. What happens? How much pressure on his breath? And when you become violent, when you hurt yourself, when you hurt another, you lose the dirghatva and sukshmatva of your breath, my dear friends. So yama and niyama are just not social conduct, just not for some social harmony. If you want to go beyond breath, beyond death, all the habits, this is what makes you addicted to breath. All these karmas where you break your yamas, they make you addicted to the breath. And because of this addiction, your sankhya keeps going down. As you establish yourself in yama, as you move forward in niyama, you will see that your asana easily goes anabhighata, and your breath becomes dirgha and sukshma, which gives you that amount of lightness in your prana, that amount of strength within you, that you can hold this horse, Thus you can hold this horse of prana, and yogis have held the breath. Once you hold the breath, then you can hold the senses. Without that, so my dear friends, Patanjali is making a very, very systematic, very deep, very deep and very revolutionary appeal here. Bahya abhyantara vishayakshepi chaturtha. I told you the three practice pranayamas. Antara vritti, bahya vritti, stambha vritti. Stopping after exhaling, stopping after inhalation, and stopping it randomly. You observe it for the desha, for the kala, for your sankhya. This is for your abhyasa. I tell you another one, which happens by vairagya. Everything is about abhyasa and vairagya here. Bahya abhyantara vishayakshepi chaturtha. There is another one that takes place either in exhalation or in inhalation. When the mind gives away the chintana of the vishaya, sense organ touching the sense object, the desires, which are either outside or within me, in my own thinking process. When all the thoughts of I want something, either outside through my sense organ touching the objects, or within me as some kind of a memory, some kind of a experience, some kind of a state, when all those desires are given up, there is another spontaneous one that comes up where your breath stops. When we do this guided yogic relaxation and we say drop the center, the breath stops. So, bahya abhyantara vishayakshepi chaturtha. Outer and inner vishayas. Akshepi, given up, let go, not required. Vairagya. Chaturtha, there spontaneously happens the fourth pranayama. When will this happen? It will happen in a moment of extreme bhakti. See, Patanjali always, throughout the sutra, you see, he is basically a Raj Yoga path. It is basically he is a Raj Yogi. But then he is compassionate enough. Again, he brings this dimension here that don't think that a bhakta will not be able to go beyond breath. Just by surrender to his God, one pointed surrender, all the vishayas given up in his head, touching the feet of the Guru, he will go beyond prana. He will get into samadhi. Dear friend, there is no samadhi if the breath is there, okay? If there is samadhi, there is no breath. There is no question of breath. So, it can also happen when all the desires are given up by bhakti too. In love too, it is possible. In first chapter, Patanjali brings the same domain of compassion when he says, after describing all the methods, he says, Ishwar pranidhanadva. Everything is one side. By Ishwar pranidhana also it is possible. In the same way, after describing the pranayamas for the Raj Yogi, increase your sankhya, increase your space, increase the duration. He says, there is another one where no calculations, no abhyasa. It is the path which is different, which is of complete let go of the desires for something higher than you, for something that you deeply love. And there, in the culturing of the emotion also, there is strength to take you on the same path at the same level. and beyond. Okay, so I want all of you to think about these amazing, amazing sutras, very revolutionary, very, you can say Patanjali was not at all even afraid that people would think that he is impractical. He has called upon the human beings that you have the freedom to go beyond breath. And he's putting up a challenge. But that requires the fundamentals to be set first. यम और नियम जब तक नहीं बैठेंगे तब तक हमारा जो स्थूल और लघु सांसों का जो प्रवाह है वो हमारे एडिक्शन को बार बार बढ़ाता ही जाएगा. So please think about it. With this, we end the class now. And last 2 minutes for any questions in what we have discussed today. Okay, I think people are very seriously contemplating, which is good. So thank you. Thank you very much. We shall meet again next week.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.